it's about time to catch up with the president. I haven't talked about national politics in a while, and that's because I've been seeing how it's been playing out all over the place. You got tons of people like, oh yes, Trump's gonna lose re-election in the polls. My goodness, the polls. I'm just like, yeah. You guys know better than anybody how bunk polls are because remember that subscribe star Patreon poll? Yeah. So once again, I'm just not really feeling people being honest when they're in front of a poll as opposed to being in front of a being in the ballot box, being in the polling station. I think those are two different things. So, a lot of complaints have been coming through about, oh, Trump's not doing anything when it comes to the riots and the protests, and they want him going in and swinging hard. And the problem with that is that he represents the federal government. There is state and local governments which have been completely, infiltrated with those of communistic Marxist type, leanings that are going out of their way to try and make it seem as if just the nation's in chaos. There's so much different hurt and pain and so much bigotry coming from the man in the White House. Guys, let me tell you something that my father always told me. Deal is that you can't hit whoever, no matter who it is, they can't determine how you act. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't care who's in the White House. That doesn't matter. That doesn't change the fact that you're acting a fool. That doesn't change the fact that it doesn't affect your actions. It shouldn't affect your actions. But here we are with all these different people out here screaming, oh my goodness, racist and bigoted, and it's so antagonistic to those who aren't, because like, bruh, like, they'll eventually turn and say, you know what, screw it. If you're going to call me that, then that's what I'll be. And they're like, no, we don't need any of that. So I figured I'd take some time, cover some of the rather good things that's coming from President Trump as of late. This one right here is the National Garden of Heroes, which is his counter strike to the toppling of statues throughout the nation. And a lot of these left towns, like towns that at one point, like back when they were being erected through the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s, they had a ton of American pride, but a lot of people ended up moving because of local politics are insanely dirty, and they left these areas, and and over the past 30 years they've been slowly filled with people without that great of a sense of connection to the nation, as well as a ton of people without a that weren't there for the erection of the statues, right? So Trump promises a vast outdoor park featuring statues of the greatest Americans to ever live. This is written by Adam Shaw for Fox News. Antonio Scalia, Jackie Robinson amongst those picked for Trump's National Garden of Heroes. Let's see, any other names? We'll skim through this because I do have other. Okay, so we got Booker T. Washington. The proposed names on the list include Scalia, Robinson, Krista McAuliffe, a teacher who died in the '86 Challenger shuttle disaster, the Wright brothers, who flew the first powered flight, educator Booker T. Washington, and women's rights activist Susan B. Anthony. Full list of heroes is John Adams, Clara Barton, Daniel Boone, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, Henry Clay, Davy Crockett, Frederick Douglass, Amelia Earhart, Benjamin Franklin, Billy Graham, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, MLK, Abraham Lincoln, Douglas MacArthur, Dolly Madison, James Madison, we already read that one. Audie Murphy, George Patterson Jr., Ronald Reagan, Jackie Robinson, Betsy Ross, Antonio Scalia, Harriet Stowe, Harriet Tubman, Booker T. Washington, George Washington, and Orville and Wilbur Wright, the Wright brothers. Okay, yeah, so that's cool. That's really cool to as a, like I said, a counter strike to those who are toppling statues in areas that they're probably not even from. Like if they are from, they're like first generation. So but that's what happens when you allow mob rule, right? This nation's gigantic. A lot of people like to forget that. Okay, so Mexico. You know what? This is actually a great opportunity to talk about the Goya situation, which is utterly dumb. Okay, it is the dumbest thing. Really, really. Imagine living in a world where you can actually have an opinion on somebody's job and not have mobs of internet weirdos come and start screaming about, oh my goodness, Goya, no more Goya, Goya's canceled. Like, come on, y'all, cut it out. Cut it out. Like, I don't really think you're gonna break into Goya's market share like that, because they're everywhere. As well as the guy who's they donate food, and all he said was that President Trump's doing a good job. And what did they do? They completely lost their crap. I mean, I was watching. I was like, you know what? I'm on vacation. I'm enjoying a little bit of time, just not really paying too hard of attention to the internet, even though it's kind of impossible not to do at this point. But yeah, so Mexican president, this is coming to us from Reuters. Mexican president thanks Trump for not mentioning border wall at summit. And deal is that the border wall is getting knocked out. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, that I wanted to bring up in this just a quick update check-in on a lot of the headlines versus the actuality of the situation. And in all actuality, the border wall is getting done. It's really one of the few. The fun thing about Trump is that he said he'd do it. He's going out and doing it, and there's so many people surprised that he's going out and doing it. Right? This was something that my mom and really ladies, not to drag you too hard, but my mom would always look at me and wonder, right? Just like, well, damn, like you said you were going to go do that and you went and did it. And it's like, well, yeah, Ma, because I said I was going to do it. Like that's the type of person that you raised. That's who my father, my father was very, very, very adamant about me keeping my word and making sure that my word was good and my word was honorable. And so it really blew my mind that my mother was so, it perplexed her so much. But I find out, through just going out through our life, that, it perplexes a lot of people when you do what you say you're going to do. How is that a weird concept? I personally don't get it. Let's read a little bit into this one. Mexican President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador on Friday expressed gratitude to Donald Trump for avoiding in public the thorny subject of the U.S. president's promised border wall during a summit in Washington earlier this week. Reuters, it's a delivered border wall in many spaces. It's almost 200, 300 miles more than we had initially, which should satiate any the Ann Coulters of the world who are sitting there screaming about, oh no, Trump, you're not building the wall. Yeah. And what we're gonna do? We're gonna land. We're gonna wrap this one up with one of my favorite proposals coming out of this administration. Once again, coming to us from Fox News. Trump threatens tax-exempt status funding for universities and schools over radical left indoctrination, grievance studies, gender studies, all that fun stuff. One of the videos that I actually got tagged on for quote unquote hate speech was Hungary taking the stands that they did against grievance and gender studies, saying look, this ain't really helping us. This doesn't get us anywhere. We just got a whole bunch of angry chicks running around here now. You know what? I love the fact that they peeped that and they're going after it. And one of the reasons that it's so important is because it really doesn't help. It hasn't helped anything. It doesn't move anything forward. And because I've actually gone on a few on a few podcasts, talking about this, where it's like it doesn't help, it doesn't move anything forward. It's just pointless. Why continue it? Like there's no need for it. And it's really good to see that that this administration is actually taking it on. It's beautiful. This is written by Tyler Olson, and we're not going to read a lot of it. But Trump said he would ask the Treasury Department to look into the issue. President Trump on Friday said he is telling the Treasury Department to look into the tax exempt status and the funding of universities and school systems over alleged left-wing bias, saying that children should not be indoctrinated. Too many universities and school systems are about and that's the fun part. It's not like just the universities, it's the school systems, it's the elementary schools. They're sitting there like they have Black Lives Matter, which is Marxism, indoctrination taking place at this very moment. You have the whole let's teach eighth graders anal thing going down at this very moment. And it's just like, whoa, we need parental rights back, and yes, a ton of parents are dumb and slow without question. But at this point, I'd rather it have to be dealt with through them than the state. Like this was a gigantic mistake that was made, before any of us were born, and it's something that we've gotten into a habit of just relying upon the state to educate and basically raise these children when the state is not capable of such a feat. I'm sorry, not raising people in any kind of to turn out to be any kind of. Okay, hold on, because I'm pretty sure I was raised as an orphan, and you know what? I'm a swell person that's not racist. Okay, I get it. Everybody has their own situation, but also everybody comes from a pair of testicles and a set of eggs, and the people that hold either or should be the one in charge of the raising and the functioning of that person, not the state. I'm sorry. Okay, so too many universities, Article 11, not education. Trump said in a pair of tweets, therefore, I am telling the Treasury Department to re-examine their tax exempt status and or funding, which will be taken away if this propaganda or act against public policy continues. Our children must be educated, not indoctrinated. I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't. So for everybody who's sitting here, because whether you realize it or not, there's a reason it's called abnormal and normal. All right. So for those who are just like, look, man, a man's a man, a woman is a woman. This isn't hard. We kind of figure this out along the way. Like we know there's a difference, instinctually, and having parents, protect their vulnerable children. That's really like the only way forward, and removing this type of stuff from the educational system, it will do gangbusters. It really can. So guys, with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. To all the internet stuff, if you liked it, also to like, dislike, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and Bitchute and like aren't the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications and speak. Let me know, what do you guys think in the comments? Like honestly, this isn't a matter of me, oh my goodness, President Trump, put your meat down my throat. Nope, not at all. It's just me witnessing what's taking place and trying to look at it from a reasonable person's point of view. If you disagree, like I said, my comment section's always open. Okay, I get it. Don't write long ass novels just to call me Uncle Tom, though. All right. Until the next one.